Welcome back to 98.7 The Fan on the Liam Sports Network. It's Andrew Trop, Micah Fleischman, Obi Taylor. We're talking MLB today, specifically the wild card race, boys. Andrew, a super tight-knit race as we enter the dog days of July. What team do you see in the AL or in the NL that can set themselves apart and really break away from that wild card spot?
Well, I'll start off in the National League. I mean, there's, 5 or 6 teams all within, I believe, 4 or 5 games of each other. And one team that's really standing out to me is the reigning National League champion, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, as of right now, they're 1 game below 500, 2.5 games out of the final wild card spot. And we know that this team is good enough to make a deep run in the playoffs and even just make the playoffs. You know, they're off to a really disappointing start. Corbin Carroll's not replicating what he did last year. The pitching, very lackluster. But we know that they have the core, they have the team to be able to make a deep push, good second half, and I do expect that to happen for Arizona.
And Obi, we've seen the Yankees, they got off to what could be the best start in MLB history, statistically speaking, and they've just had a phenomenal collapse. It's been something that we haven't seen in recent memory. What have you seen from the Yankees, and what steps do they need to take to get back to where they were up until about 3 weeks ago?
I think that top and middle of the lineup, top and back of that lineup really needs to start producing, especially in that leadoff spot with Volpe. Maybe either make some changes or just go with another leadoff hitter or fix his swing something. But they need to change something offensively as well as throughout that pitching rotation, which was good too.
So what we've seen a lot, at least in recent history, is a lot of competitiveness in the American League and not so much in the National League. So I think that poses the question. Whenever you get to this time around July, the main thing that you hear, deadlines and players that are looking to be traded, are there guys that you would like to see NL teams that are on the brink of competition go get, Andrew? Somebody that can make a difference and really set them apart?
Well, absolutely, and there are a couple teams here that I think could really make a big splash. San Diego is one of them. I think that they're in a position where, although they did get rid of Juan Soto this year, they're having a nice season. They're 4 games above 500, currently in the third wild card spot. I could see them go out and get a good hitter, a great back into their bullpen guy. However, what these super tight races do is it creates more buyers and less sellers, creating much less players available, right? So you look at teams like Chicago, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, San Francisco. They're all kind of on the bubble of this really tight race. If one of them goes on a hot streak, all of a sudden they're gone from the market, and they're going to be trying to bring in players, limiting the player pool. So I think it's going to be a pretty quiet trade deadline this year.
This also sparks another conversation you talked about. If there are more teams that are competitive, that reduces the amount of sellers and increases the amount of buyers. At what point, Obi, does a team that's 1 game out but only 1 game over 500 take a step back and put things into perspective and say, okay, well, maybe we have a chance to actually make the playoffs, but as far as making a run, it might not be worth it. Do we blow it up?
I think, especially now, teams are going to play at space, especially with how expensive the market is now. I mean, players are, they need players. I understand that, to win playoff games. But sometimes you have to look longevity and keep your picks. Just be smart. Think about it long ways,
All right, when we get back, we're going to talk about what's going on in the NBA, off-season deadline, Team USA. Thank you. This is Obi Taylor, Andrew Trop, Micah Fleischman, 98.7 The Fan.